Hey everybody, and welcome back to the mainstream. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with my co-host,
John Ward.
John Ward, and we are going to be talking about another Mission Impossible movie. Yes, John is holding it up right now. It is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which I was very, 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 very happy with. This is probably
Wow.
what, because okay, so John and I were talking, and I was like, because he was asking when we're going to do another one, and or if we're going to do another one, because the fourth one, Ghost Protocol, didn't win me over necessarily. I feel like it's had highs and lows. Like I love the first one, and the second one was like, okay. Third one was a little better. Then the third or fourth one was like, okay. Then this one, just like I think either it's I'm still debating right now whether or not this is better than the first. You know, I love the first with Brian De Palma and everything, but Christopher McQuarrie did a fantastic job. This is just but here's my reasoning for it. I think this feels the most like a Marvel movie to me, a little bit.
I was going to message you and saying you will probably like this because it's the one that feels like the first one, like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, it's got the Hitchcockness, but like it's got the team aspect stuff that the first one did, which I really like. That the IMF group, um they just are fun, right? And then, they're all working together, and then they're fighting this other team that remind me of like Hydra or something, from Marvel, and they're called the Syndicate, And I felt it just felt like a Marvel movie without like superheroes, Like they even though I hate to say it, but Tom Cruise is pretty super in this, super heroic in this movie, doing some crazy ass shit that I would never expect him to do. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Um, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun from start to finish. It did not bore me at all. Like nothing seemed slow down. Rebecca Ferguson was, look
I
at her,
love
just look at
Rebecca
her right there.
Ferguson.
Oh,
She is the so Marvel, because you bring up Marvel. Marvel has basically done a female replacement for each person. Hulk has She-Hulk, and everybody has the female replacement. All done wrong. Everyone is done wrong. I'm better than you because I'm a woman and younger. You're an old white man. This, Rebecca Ferguson has done perfectly. And I did watch the behind the scenes, and they said, yeah, she's supposed to be a female Ethan Hunt. And at no point was she was supposed to replace him. At no point is she better than him. At no point, it's just they wanted to have a female that could be the equivalent, that could be his like counterpart if they had to like fight together. That it wouldn't be like a romantic relationship. It wouldn't be, you know, that she's better than him. It would, and I think she's perfect.
well,
And
I mean, there
it
was
is,
one part where she said, "You can run away with me." I thought that might be like some little romantic thing, or something.
well, they get into that with Fallout.
Do
Yeah,
they have a fallout?
they have a fall in.
Ooh, they fall in
Ooh.
love.
But now remember, she's a good fighter. And she had that knife fight near the end where she kills
Hmm?
the big guy that's like the size of the Frankenstein monster, and they're using knives,
Hmm.
and she wins. Remember that when we watch Dead Reckoning.
Ah, okay. That's gonna be a
So
while, so I
I,
might forget. You might have to remind me.
yeah, it's after rewatching this, I just went, fuck. Goddamn Dead Reckoning every single time. I have so many things to say about about those two films, but I think she is gorgeous. She is perfect in this. I kind of knew who she was before this because she's also in like
I'm still,
Dune and
I don't really know who she is. Like I've heard her name. I've probably seen her in a bunch of stuff. It's just there are so many like people out there right now that like are stars and celebrities and things. And I can't keep up with everybody, you know? Like
I wish not to.
I
They're
mean it,
they're all annoying,
I know, and they all have their opinions, which is fine. Whatever.
which
It's their
nobody
opinion.
wants to hear because now they're we had Rachel Zegler doing it with Snow White, then we had Millie Alcock doing it with Supergirl. Now we have Black Helen of Troy doing it with the Odyssey. So it's these people just can't shut up for a second. I mean, it's they're all just young, dumb, and full of it, basically. But
Well, I
with
mean, yeah,
what
it's
I mean, what I like hearing with the women on the Mission Impossible films and or just even working with crews is they they want to be on his level. So, like in this, as an example, she learned how to hold her breath underwater. So
hmm
when they had that whole scene with the machines going around where he's trying to flip the cards, he could stay under for basically 6 minutes, like 5 to 6 minutes. She could stay under for a few minutes, which they weren't expecting her to do. But she's like, no, I want to do this. I don't want a stunt person. I don't want. And they've said that for a few of the other movies where, all of a sudden the actresses that he works with want to know how to skydive. They want to learn how to ride a horse. They want to learn how to drive a car at 100 miles an hour. And I think that that's great that it brings that out in them just with working with crews because he doesn't demand it. It's like, okay, if you want to do it, great. Come with me. I'm going to go learn how to jump out of a balloon.
hmm
You could come with me and learn it too, you know. So that was just kind of like Simon Pegg, the car chase that was in this that then turns into the greatest bike chase ever filmed.
hmm
When Christopher McQuarrie and he directed Jack Reacher, and of course Cruise was on that. So he wrote and directed Jack Reacher. They were writing Rogue Nation while making that movie. And that's when Cruise said, "Hey, why don't you direct Rogue Nation?" But the car chase scene that's in Jack Reacher, he's like, I want to outdo that. And I want it to go to something else. And McCoy's like, what? He goes, motorcycles. He goes, we have to do the car chase, and then that's gonna have to go straight into motorcycles. But Simon Pegg said, I want to be in the car with you when you're doing all that crazy driving. And Cruz is like, are you sure? And this is all from the behind the scenes that I watched. And Simon Pegg is like, yeah. And so when they're driving, that's all Cruise. Him doing that circle and
hmm
it wipes out all the bikes. That's him. And Simon Pegg is in the car, and he did the whole. Obviously not the flip. When it land. That's obviously not them, but all the close-ups because they had three cameras on the car. All that stuff is Simon Pegg. And that's what Cruz does. He influences these people to be right next to him, and I think it just betters themselves.
hmm
My opinion.
Yeah.
But
Um, so I guess we'll go into the story a little bit. So the idea is as most of the movies that I've seen of this, it starts out with something happening, right? Like already they're already in the midst of dealing with these I don't know what they were like they're on a plane and there's some kind of valuable stuff or whatever that he had to go and get and take away from
well,
the
yeah, it was like a deadly toxin that
yeah,
was being transported,
you're
and
being transported.
yeah, and they decided to do the big stunt because that was the big stunt. So they decided to do it at the beginning of the movie instead of like the end,
It's kind of like how
basically.
Hitchcock wanted to do his cameos at the beginning so people weren't waiting for them, right?
Oh,
We're that was the smart thing for him to do is he was like, okay, well, let's push the cameos to the beginning of the movie so people see it, then they move on from trying to find where Hitchcock is. Where's Hitchcock?
Makes
But yeah,
sense. Yeah.
but that makes sense too. You do the big stunt like that, and then all of a sudden people are sucked into the movie, and Cruise
And
is sucked out of the airplane.
and that's an amazing stunt because they did it a bunch of times. He had to have special contacts in his eyes. And he was, of course, they grease screened out the cables, but he is on that plane, 1,000 feet in the air, whatever it was. He is on that plane. If one of those cables broke, he would have fallen off and killed himself. So that's all 100% him. There was not one green screen on that, and they filmed it a few times to get it exactly right. So I think the guy's amazing. What can I
Yeah,
say?
I know
What
you
can I
have
say?
you have a
Look,
big crush
look,
on him.
I'm right next to him right there.
I
Look,
know you
look,
are.
look,
Um,
right there.
so that happens, and then we find out we meet Alec Baldwin in a little bit after that.
Who has the greatest speech near the end
Yeah, I love it.
about how Ethan Hunk is Ethan Hunk. There we go, Ethan Hunk.
I don't know.
Ethan
Has anybody
Hunt.
ever said that before? I wonder.
Ethan Hunk is like the manifest of destiny. It is such a great speech, and Alec Baldwin does such a great job at
I
speeches,
love.
which is
I loved him in this movie, by the way. I
yeah, he's in the next one too.
Good
But
Fallout,
then because Dead
but
Reckoning
then
was
he
a
has a
few years
fallout and
later.
he leaves. Yeah.
Literally, yeah, he does.
Um.
But it's yeah, they because Christopher McQuarrie said that when they were writing this, they wanted to do like a best of. So that's why these things are brought up in that meeting to dissolve the IMF, and that I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring San Francisco up. I'm going to bring Russia up. I'm going to
All the
bring,
different movies, the
yeah, that he
areas
wanted
that
to
they're
kind
in.
of tie these things together, including Rebecca Ferguson when Cruz is, when he's hung and, when he's like strapped to that thing and she has the rabbit's paw
Right.
from like part three. Where's the rabbit's paw? And so that, but yeah,
Well,
they get dis disinvolved. It
oh
stops.
wait, I know what you're saying. I know what you're
Dis
saying because they were, God, and I was just saying the words earlier today. But yeah, they get dissolved or whatever,
yeah.
and so the um, yeah, because Alec Baldwin is Secretary
Well,
Ross in this
we
movie.
but we did skip. So
Hold on, but
after
real quick, I just want to say he's Secretary Ross in this movie. So he's the asshole who has to come in and say this you got to break up, or whatever, just like in Civil War where Secretary Ross, Thunderbolt Ross tells them, you got to sign this paper or you're not going to be Avengers anymore, and stuff.
yeah, this is you have to basically join the CIA.
You have to basically join the CIA and leave being, and in your own group. What does the
Yeah,
IMF stand for? It's Impossible Mission Force. Okay, I was
mission
trying to think what
force.
the F
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. But right after the plane scene, which is great, where Ethan he gets on the big uh um a pallet of gas and he flies out the back of the plane. We find out that all the people that were on that plane end up dead. But the scene that's right after that, I freaking love, is he goes to the record store
Right?
and he's just kind of walking around and there's this really hot young girl in there who realizes who he is and he becomes this kind of mythical creature, this kind of urban legend,
Hmm.
that there's no way you could be the guy that we've all heard about. And he just kind of smiles at her and then walks into that record booth to play that recording of, do you accept this assignment? And then that's when we find out about the syndicate is mentioned in part four. It's at the very end. When he's walking away, he puts on the headset and they go, "We just found out about the syndicate."
Okay.
And yeah, so it's brought up at the very ending of part four. Um, and then the girl gets killed, and then that's when we meet basically the leader of the syndicate, who I absolutely love.
I think he was great. He might be my second favorite villain after Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is just great in part three. He
I
is
don't think you
so
can
good.
ever like defeat a character that Philip Seymour Hoffman has played. Like you can't do better than him. You know, if you're trying to outdo like that character, like that was just that character in part three was like the best, character and villain. And I mean even four had like a boring villain in my opinion. And two had sort of a boring villain. But like Philip Seymour Hoffman killed it in that one. So
Yeah, Solomon Lane is
Solomon Lane. Yeah.
yeah, and I love the idea of the syndicate, and I really wish they continued with it with Rogue Nation and Dead Reckoning, not Rogue Nation, Dead
Fallout.
Reckoning and no,
Fallout.
it's in Follow. It's in
Okay, so there's
yeah.
okay, because I was hoping there'd be a continuation with it.
Yeah, it really is like one, two, and three are its own thing. Four, five, and six are its own thing, and then the last two are their own thing. So the Syndicate it's mentioned in part four, but then it's followed through
In
with
part
Fallout.
five and six. Sounded
Yeah.
good.
So it's and just how brutally he just kills this hot girl and Cruz gets gassed and then he ends up in that kind of like torture chamber. And then you sent me the message saying that it was impressive that he was able, with being cuffed, that he was able to get up this
God,
pole
that was
and
awesome.
and over it.
I was impressed. I was like, oh my God, that because that was real. Like that wasn't like some kind of
Yeah,
fake
I think
thing or
so.
something. I think that was him. They figured out how he could do that and everything, but that was like that's insane. Like him just climbing up there and then just flipping over and everything, just like awesome. And then
Well,
he had
see, and
that
yeah, they're smart because the camera shows you that it's not that it doesn't go, the pole
it's not
doesn't
like
go all the
hooked
way
into
up.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it just
It's just a
stops.
big pole that stops. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he gets
because
up there and
you're
he gets flipped over and then and he's able to get out of there. And I thought that's incredible because nobody else would have thought that. Like nobody else that's handcuffed like that would have thought, if I just go like this, I can get all the way up there and out there. But Ethan was like, yeah, let's do it.
Ethan
And
Hunt.
yeah, and then he's
Ethan
fighting the
Hunt.
guys with his handcuffs, and I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. Like choking people and stealing their weapons and doing all these cool things. Meanwhile, the girl's trying to help him out, which, okay, so that was a little weird at first because like he did not know her, but she was like giving him little signals like, I'm here to help you kind of thing. And so he like trusted her pretty quickly. Um, which I don't know. That I guess that seems a little Ethan, but
I mean, it's yeah. I think that there might have been a chemistry thing going there. There might have been a because she is playing both sides, as we find out that she is the double agent. So and she did tell our I'm blanking on his name, Solomon Lane, that that he wanted him alive, not to be dead. So that's why she
mm,
did it, which isn't true. I think that she just wanted to save him. I do like that Ethan says to her, have we met before? After once they really started kicking everybody's ass. But the nice thing about these are that Ethan is not unbreakable. I mean, he gets fucked up a lot, and he will use, he's not I don't know
mm.
what's a male version of a Mary Sue, a Martin Sue. He's not a Martin Sue.
He's really
Um,
not the male version of that.
no, and he uses whatever. He reminds me of Jackie Chan, and as I'm sure this is probably,
Been
as I'm
compared,
sure,
yeah.
yeah, is Jackie Chan would use what is ever in the room. So it would, if he sees a chair, he uses it. He sees a photograph, like a painting, he uses the frame. It's whatever in the room he uses, and
Can
that's what Ethan does.
can we get a Jackie Chan Tom Cruise movie? Like, how epic would that be? All the stunts would be their stunts and everything. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool. I would like that.
I don't know why that's never, I don't know if that's ever been pitched or whatever. I think the only problem might be that Jackie Chan would want first, name, and then Tom Cruise, of course, would, they'd have to go alphabetically, which would be Chan, Cruise, you know, whatever.
Yeah, or you do like Bad Boys is
Right.
the best known for that on their poster, is that it says Martin Lawrence, then
Will
Will
Smith.
Smith. But if you look on the poster, Will Smith is in front
Right.
of Martin Lawrence, and that's done on purpose.
Right. That's
Because
important.
it's like,
And it's usually right underneath the wrong names, which is always kind of funny to me. Because like, like it's like, okay, that's not Martin Lawrence, but all right, like,
yeah,
um,
it's just all managers and
a,
stuff. And
a Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise movie. I would,
I would go for any of these guys. If you want to do Jackie Chan, Jet Li, I mean, oh God, I'm blanking on his name, and I can see his picture too because I just watched all the John Wick movies.
Keanu Reeves.
Um, no, no, not Keanu Reeves. Um, John Wick 4. He's doing a spin-off of his character. And that would be actor. Why do we have these actors that aren't the people who I need? Oh, Donnie Yen.
Oh, I've heard
You
of
could
Donnie
get,
Yen. Yeah.
yeah, he is great, and you could get him in there too, because he's still directing and acting and doing his own stunts and everything. But it's, I think some of this stuff is amazing, and like I said, these people are all willing to do it. My problem with, as the series goes on, is Ving Rhames, is that he seems to get bigger, and I mean weight
Mm,
wise. And you could kind of see him, especially in the last two movies, that he doesn't walk very well.
right.
So he's sitting a lot. And I could never, like Benji in this one, when they go to the opera, which is to me pure Hitchcock, is when he
Hmm.
goes there and they got the assassins and everybody's set up and Cruz is fighting the guy. They're going up and down behind the stage, and all that's great. He fights, oh, I just forgot his name.
Solomon Lane or
No, 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 no. Simon Pegg. God, I hate getting
Simon.
old. And he fights the guy in the control booth.
Hmm.
But I don't think that you could have Ving Rhames do that, because it wouldn't make sense. I mean, it's like,
I'm
and
just glad to see him still like around.
he's in every single one. He's been there from the beginning. I just think in real life he just couldn't do stuff that much. I could be totally wrong, but
Um,
just going off of these, you
I
you,
think
you
you've
know what
said
he,
that in each one, in each of these podcasts.
yeah,
You
it's
know.
because I'm noticing how it gets worse,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and but it's after this big fight that they do with Rebecca Ferguson, and she lets him escape, and then that's, yeah, when we meet up with Alec Baldwin, and he has to like, yeah, dissolve the IMF because they have to go rogue.
It's
Or
called
that's,
Rogue Nation. I mean,
yeah, they have to.
it works on multiple levels because they're going rogue and the other team is rogue, which, if you think about it, is very Marvel because the Syndicate is the villain version of the IMF and everything. So they're kind of, and they have to fight the villain version of themselves. And Solomon Lane is the villain version of Ethan Hunt. He's always one step ahead, thinking, one step ahead of Ethan, and it's pissing Ethan off because Ethan can't, he started noticing it at the end. He was like, all right, you're always one step ahead of me, but I got ahead of you, or whatever, and this stuff. And by the end of it, he does get ahead of the guy, thank God. But I want to go back and talk about the tickets to the opera and how excited Benji was of going to the opera because that to me was one of the best scenes. Like he gets those tickets and the look on his face. And I was like, I don't peg no no pun intended, but I don't peg, Benji as a opera guy. I never thought of him as like a guy who would want to go to the opera.
I guess to get out of his boring, mundane job.
Because he gets to go to Vienna, right? Or whatever, which was not, he wasn't living, he was in America, so he got to fly out to
Yeah.
Vienna, get these tickets. He was so excited. He got, told everybody where he was going. And then all of a sudden, he gets off the subway or whatever, and he gets tossed this envelope, manila envelope that had glasses. I did not like that because very confusing. There's no earpiece. So was everybody hearing what Ethan was saying to him?
No, this is a, if you notice in this, um, I'm really having a hard time with names. I'm sorry. They're just not coming to me. Jeremy Renner, Brian. You do see at one point that
Brant.
he does have Brant, that he does have a an earpiece. So they use, I guess they just assume that the audience knows there's an earpiece when there
No, because
isn't.
you look in, you can't see any earpiece in their ear. And he doesn't come, like the glasses don't come with an earpiece. So
I
I was
guess
just,
you
I
could
did
hear
not
it
like it.
back here
I guess,
by your ear. You could, but there's
but if it's loud enough for him to hear there, it's loud enough for anybody to hear. And then on top of that, Cruz didn't have any earpiece in his ear when he was just communicating with them normally. That was the one thing I didn't like. This was like the only thing I didn't like.
oh, then
So
you're gonna love Dead Reckoning then. That's one of my biggest criticisms of the movie is they keep walking around talking to each other and they turn their heads and there is absolutely no earpiece in
Oh
there.
God. I don't know why they do this. They have people who have earpieces. So like why wouldn't they just say, "Here you go," because it doesn't make any sense. But
I guess they just assume because then in Dead Reckoning, Cruz is walking around an airport, or Ethan is doing that, and he does have the glasses on,
yeah,
but you can he's just like, well, there they are. Well, there they are. Well, there she is. Well, there she goes. Okay, well, here's this, there's that. And they're all communicating with each other, but
yeah,
yet you never see an earpiece. And I'm like, just do a shot, one shot. That's all you need of a guy putting in an earpiece. And
exactly.
we will then, the audience will assume that everybody has an earpiece
All right.
because that one guy does it.
No, but see
And
this now it didn't work for me because that one guy did it. Brant had an earpiece, and I would watch, and I was looking closely, and I didn't see any earpieces because you can see Cruz's ears on both sides when he's walking and talking to Benji at the opera, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How's he talking to him if he doesn't have any kind of microphone or something or earpiece or whatever to be able to hear what Benji is saying? So I didn't like that. That was the only
no, that
thing.
bugs me too.
Yeah, that was the only thing I did not like. But aside from that, I still really enjoyed the movie. And I enjoyed that Benji stood up and fought and stuff and tried to, he was, because when we first meet Benji in part three, he's just this IT guy, or whatever. He's this hacker guy or whatever, computer dude, and he's a nerdy guy, Part four, he kind of starts stepping up a little bit, but this one, I felt like this was like, okay, we're giving Simon Pegg some real stuff to work on and everything. So I loved it. I thought that was great. And then, yes, the only confusing thing would probably be like how many freaking sides of like who was Rebecca Ferguson on what side because she was I mean she did she was on one side, then she was on Ethan's side, then she was on the side of the UK side and everything. And I was just like, I mean, I guess she was just really out for herself, whatever may let her survive, and everything. Um, but yeah, so she she was there at the opera and they got
Looking
to
incredibly hot in that dress with that leg propped up when she puts the gun on it and the dress is just kind of hanging around that leg. She is so amazingly hot. It is. They picked a great actress
yes.
for this.
Nowadays it would be the chick from was it from Indiana Jones and
Oh
the
God, don't say that. Yeah, Fleabag, whatever her name is. Yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's the TV show they
that's the
did.
TV show. But you sounded like you were calling her a
No,
Fleabag.
no people that are on my side call her Fleabag because that is the name of the show that she made that was
Right.
very successful. So they just call her Fleabag. But she is horrible. She is by far one of the worst.
She
And,
is.
but yeah, if they made that character today, which I'm glad that they didn't for the last two films.
Well, I don't
Um,
think Cruz knows, you know. Cruz may be gay in real life, who knows? Because we don't know. But,
allegedly,
allegedly he could be.
allegedly.
But he knows pretty women, you know. I mean, he was married to one of the hottest women alive. Not just Nicole Kidman, she was hot. But he was married to fucking Katie Holmes, who I have I've had the biggest crush on. It's funny, she had Tom Cruise's poster held up in her room. I had Katie Holmes's picture up in my room. So does that mean I get to marry her?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
yeah.
up to her and say that you had Tom Cruise's, I had yours. Let's
Well,
let's get married.
it's all done through managers and agents. So just get in contact with their manager and telling
Yeah,
them.
I would be like, I need to boost my my IMDb profile and my I need to get that up. So if I dated you, I could, that would definitely help raise my awareness and stuff. And I don't think they'd go for that though. I don't know.
No, you
But
don't know until you ask. You
look,
really
I
don't.
will jump up on a couch and, on Oprah for her for sure. You know. Uh,
I would.
um, you wouldn't or you would?
Oh, I would. I
Yeah.
don't know if I would do it now because you'd have all the Scientologists following you then. Like pre Tom Cruise, yeah, but I don't know after, as I'm sure she still gets followed and stuff. He probably wants to know what she's doing.
I don't care. They're not as long as they're not like destructing property, or whatever. Because I don't, even though she is no longer part of Scientology, she has cut ties and everything. I don't think they do anything other than maybe spy and make sure she's not saying anything.
Has she dated anybody since?
I don't know if she has, she's probably keeping that like
Yeah,
private,
because she
would be
doesn't.
my
She doesn't.
guess.
Yeah,
Um,
I know there were rumors that Cruz wanted to leave Scientology because he never gets to see his daughter, and they basically said, that's not gonna happen.
yeah, we need you. You're our breadwinner right here. You know,
We'll release a lot of secrets about you.
I mean, and I guarantee you a lot of them is something that he does not want information, which is weird because nowadays everybody embraces the gay lifestyle. So I don't know why he's even worried about that.
I just don't think if he is, I don't, I don't think he is.
You don't think he is?
No, I think that he is asexual. I don't think that I don't think he is. I think that
I
if
don't know. There's
because
a
I
lot of
I
things that like pointed me to. So I used to watch. I watched this interview with Inside the Actor Studio, and the guy, I forgot the guy's name, the older gentleman who did it. He was talking to Cruz. I don't know if you've seen this interview, but he talked to him about how his family. They didn't have a dad. It was him and his mom and his sister. And he helped raise, to be the man in the family. And his sister would have her friends come over, and like they were all goo goo gaga over Bruce, over Tom because he was a good looking kid back then too, right? And he would just, he would hang out with women a lot, and stuff like that. And it always just made me go, I mean, that could influence somebody into like being more feminine, more, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't allegedly for anything. I don't know. I don't want to be sued by the what's the god that they worship in there?
Oh,
Xenu.
Xenu.
I don't want Xenu coming after me.
Oh,
Yeah.
he might. You never know. So yeah, I mean it's oh God, what's her name? Madeline, the first wife.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about her too. What is her name?
She introduced Cruz to Scientology. So they like met on a set or something. But then everything after that with like Nicole Kidman, that was Days of Thunder, and that was managers, agents.
Mimi Rogers.
Yes, Mimi Rogers. And contracts. And then when the contract was up, Nicole Kidman splits, never wanted to have kids. So there was the adopted kids type of thing because she didn't want the kids to be part of Scientology. And then there's Penelope Cruz, and that was for um
Vanilla Sky.
but God, what is wrong with my brain?
I don't
Talking
know.
about my
You're
favorite
having
guy
worse
here.
brain fog than I've had lately.
So Vanilla because yeah, for Vanilla Sky, and then allegedly they dated, but once again, that's to promote the movie. And then there's Katie Holmes who did that interview. I had a Tom Cruise poster on my wall and I wanted to marry him. And then agents, talk to managers. And then the next thing you know, there's the contract
I thought
and
she
they're,
said it after they already started dating. I don't know. I don't know. Like it's all whatever.
I
But
think that there's like an old interview with her talking about, I mean, it could be Dawson's Creek days, like when she brought it up. And but it could be later too, like once they started, once they were married, that she
yeah,
brings it
then
up
she was
again.
like, "Oh, I used to have pictures of him on my wall. Now I'm married
Yeah.
to
And
the
then
motherfucker."
that contract ends, and then she takes the kid and splits. But I just could never see them being intimate. For some reason with Scientology, I've always seen it as more like a test tube baby type of thing. Like she was like, turkey bastered. She got turkey bastered. Um, I never have thought of Cruz as a Brad Pitt or a Antonio Banderas or something, a guy who could come in and especially like an Antonio Banderas or whatever, or even a Clooney sweeping somebody off their feet, that it's all business.
Oh
It's
my
all
God.
political.
Have you seen what their daughter looks like?
Not now, not recently.
Can you see that? Can't.
Kind of. I mean, she looks good. From what
She
I could see,
looks
she looks good.
like Katie Holmes. Like she looks like a split. I'm pretty sure that's the yeah, Suri Cruz, proving she's a stylish as a mom.
Yeah,
Stylish.
I definitely think that it's sperm cruise and Katie Egg type of thing. I just don't know if they hooked up. I
I don't know
just can't
either. I
I
mean,
can't picture it. But a lot of these actors, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., I'd be like, that is a lucky dude. He gets to hit that every night. I've never thought of that with Cruise with anybody. And I'm a huge fan. So
well, I mean, anyway.
yeah,
Uh,
But at least we stayed on Tom Cruise, even though we did not stay on target.
No, we're not. Well, we went
We
off a
kind
little
of.
bit, but that's okay. I want definitely want to get back to this movie because, like, once again, I really enjoyed it. So I had like lots of thoughts of um, like so they deal with the stuff at the opera. One of the people are killed. It's like a prime minister, not prime minister. What was the somebody a chancellor, right? Or no, he's not killed. He's shot at or something, but he survived, I think. Didn't he?
Yeah, they're it was basically yeah that Elsa is supposed to kill him, is supposed to kill yeah like that
Chancellor or
the
something like
the
that, I think.
chancellor, and then there was the backup, and then there was like the
Yeah,
backup
so
to
they just
kill her, and then the ultimate backup was exploding the car with him and like his wife and everybody in it.
right.
So they basically had the backup to the backup to the backup to the backup,
That's right. They
and
did blow him up. They blew him up in the car.
yeah.
So after Ethan and her got away for a little bit, and then Benji gets in the car and says, "Go, go, let's go."
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
I like when Cruz and Elsa are running on the, or running on the rooftop, and he goes to take her down, because he goes to grab her by the waist, and she's like, shoes. He's like, huh? Shoes. Because those are, one, they're be awkward, but also they're probably expensive.
yeah,
So it's just, take my shoes off. And then they got to go down that rickety, it's like a big pole that's broken
yeah,
and it's like rickety, and they make it down, and then it falls behind them. The
yeah. It
humor
falls
in
behind them.
this,
I thought that was great because they weren't expecting that, and it just
no.
crashes, and they were just like, "Whoa."
I mean that the humor I think works very well in this.
Do you
And
think
yeah,
like Christopher McQuarrie is really good at humor?
yeah, I am so glad that he was never really tied to what's his face from Usual Suspects,
Yeah,
that
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, that he got away from that. Like he wasn't even.
Yeah, nobody talks about that because they don't think of him and Bryan as anything other than writer of what Usual Suspects and stuff or
I
whatever.
think that's about it because yeah, because that won the Academy Award, and then for like I think it was Best Writer,
I've
and then
seen Usual Suspects years ago, and I barely remember it. I need to rewatch it. I have it. I just haven't cracked it open in a while. So
it's a good film, and I would just like to know, I would like to see a little bit more in depth of how Christopher McQuarrie and Cruise, came together because McQuarrie was blacklisted for Way of the Gun. I loved Way of the Gun. I think it's really good. And it definitely shows that he, at that time for his first film, definitely had promise as a director. So he was blacklisted, and then Cruise gave him, though I think it was Mission Impossible 3 is where he came in and did like the ghost writing. And then he just kind of evolved into Cruise's guy.
yeah.
He calls him McHugh. He
Oh.
doesn't even say like Chris or McCory. He calls him McHugh.
Well, I'm just glad that they are a team and everything. I think that might be why I really did like this one because Brad Bird did a a good job. There was some really cool stuff, but it didn't blow me away. This movie blew me away. Like I was the like I think you said it. I mean, that scene, you were like, you need to watch the motorcycle and watch his knees. So I watched it. That was great. Then I showed it to my dad later, and we watched it on a bigger screen and everything, and I was a little bit more closer too. And I was like, "You got to see this." And he was like, "I've seen this. They were in Prague, right?" I'm like, "No, no, no, that's the other movie. No, this is another. This is another one." Because I think he was getting two of the motorcycle parts like mixed up or whatever. Because
Cruise
I was
likes
like, "Yeah,
motorcycles.
they did more than one motorcycle, stuff." So I was like, "Just watch, right?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't remember any of this." Because the part that he was like that was when they were going down the stairs. And everything. I was like, have you ever seen a car go down the stairs before? And he's like, no. You know, the whole time Benji's going, stairs, stairs, stairs. I was wondering if that was Simon Pegg's real
Well,
reaction.
and mentioning the humor is we so after he does the spinning thing in the water and he flips the chips, he dies. And Elsa saves him, pulls him out, not in a girl boss type of way. She rescues him, brings him back to life, and then it's it's great. Simon Pegg's like, I totally misread you. I'm sorry. I judged you wrong. And then she zaps him, with the controllers, to bring you back to life. And then he's out, and she splits. So what I love is Benji and Cruz get to the top. They have the car where you use your hand. Cruz seizes the car, slides on the top, and just falls, just hits right on the
Well, I
ground.
mean,
And like,
he was like, yeah.
and it's
And
just, which is why I like it, because he's not perfect. It's just he's going to screw up. And
yeah,
and then
if you were to make him perfect like that, then nothing that happens in the movie, like he would always be able to like, be better than everybody, like all the time and do everything. I mean, he still is sort of like that because
he
like,
is a little superhuman. A
yeah,
lot,
because
yeah.
there's moments where he he's driving the car and he's been hurt and yet he's still doing the spinning thing and doing all these cool my favorite one was when he was like, are you buckled up and or is your safety belt on? And he was like, you're asking me this now? And then they back up and he goes backwards and then it just flips backwards and that was cool. My dad was even like, like how cool is that?
Well,
Like,
and then you get the bad guy getting off. See, I like everything leads to something else. So they
hmm
do the car chase, which is great, and then the car flips. They get out of the car. I like how Benji's like, "What? What happened? What? What? Whoa, whoa,
yeah.
whoa!"
No,
And when
no,
he wakes up,
he woke up and he was like, you know, we're gonna like we're gonna die or something, like
yeah, he
he
just,
just woke up.
kind of like he just started where he ended.
Yeah.
It's just
Like
like
right
just
before he got
immediately.
knocked out from the
But there is
airbags.
something similar in Dead Reckoning, which I love even more. In this one, you see the car's upside down, Cruz is in the car. You see the guy stop on the motorcycle. He gets out, he like cocks the gun, and he just kind of walks over. And then a car comes and hits him and just smashes him, knowing that he's probably at least broken legs or dead. And then that's when we see it's Luther and them getting out of
Well,
that
yeah, I
car.
thought that was funny because if you notice, all of the motorcyclist guys have like the helmets on. So you know what? They're all stunt people. Right? These are all
Oh, he
stunt
mentioned
people.
he mentioned that in that they worked with great stuntmen.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. But like those are all stunt people in the things because I mean, how many awesome parts where like, like the flip around where he knocks them off from the car, and then later he's on the motorcycle and he knocks that one dude, and like the motorcycle explodes and the other guy's like flying off the bridge or
Off the
whatever,
cliff.
off the cliff. Yeah,
Yeah.
which that I mean, unless that was just a fake body, I don't think it was. I think that was a person, and how scary that stuff is. Um,
Yeah, they had mentioned the altitude of how high it was, and that if one of them did not do things correctly, they could have died.
Have
Yeah.
you seen the movie the Fallout guy or whatever? Is that what it's called? The
Oh,
Fall Guy
the
movie.
Fall Guy. No, I
Yeah.
want to. I just
You
never.
should you should definitely see it. I saw it on the airplane and honestly, I was very impressed. It was like one of my favorite movies I saw on the plane because it was I saw that in that Keanu Reeves, Seth Rogen movie, Good Fortune. So I really, really enjoyed The Fall Guy because I think it was Gosling or whatever.
Yeah, Ryan
And
Gosling.
it
Yeah.
it was it was the world of stunts and stuff, and they showed some of like the extra stuff at the end, like the, you know, yeah, whatever, like outtakes and stuff. And I mean, some of these were like real, it felt like real stunts that some of the actors were. I don't know if Gosling did it, but Tom Cruise should have played that role, but I think it might have been a little too old. I don't know, whatever. Actually, whatever. He would have done a great job because you know, because the stunts were incredible. And so, and that was done by like directed by a former stunt coordinator or something. So, really well done, and gives made me have way more respect for stunt people because of what they were able to show in that movie. And in this movie, it definitely gives me more respect for stunt people to see people getting, flown around and done all that stuff. And I'm just like blown away going, okay, I'm glad I'm not a stunt person because like my dad could be a stunt person. He wanted to go when we were in South Africa, he wanted to do what's that called? Like where you fall into a net, free fall or something. But
Oh, like a bungee jump
no,
or
no, he's done bungee jumping here. So we were in Johannesburg and we went to this trip to Toledo and it was historic stuff, right, that we were doing a tour of. But my dad had heard that there was a at this one thing called like the Orlando Towers, huge towers, right? In the middle is a bridge, right? And then you go on the bridge and you can either bungee jump or you can free fall. And free fall is like you have something you have something on you and you jump down into a net and stuff, you know? Sounds very scary. Like I would not ever, but my dad wanted to do it. And fortunately, Orlando Towers was closed, so he couldn't do it. But I was like thinking I could never be a stunt guy because I couldn't even bungee jump or whatever. I would be too fucking scared, and stuff and probably shit my pants while midair, you know? Like,
yeah,
so.
that's why these studios don't want the actors to do their own stunts.
Right. And
You know.
and I totally get it. Even especially with asking Tom Cruise, like, saying, I know you want to do these stunts, but this is a pretty crazy stunt, man. Like, why don't you just get one of your buddies to do it? One of your, and they're like, no, dude, I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's why for Dead Reckoning, in the trailer where they would show him on the motorcycle and he would go off the ramp and he'd do the
Hmm.
parachute thing. They they said that was the first thing that they did. That's the very first thing that they shot because if Cruise died,
They have
they
no
wouldn't have
movie.
to make the movie.
Yeah.
But if he survived, then they could make the movie. So it's just like, well, we're not going to make, this whole film and then have you die. So we're going to
This
shoot that first.
that reminds me of whatever Lloyd Kaufman's thing of like I filmed the sex scenes first. He films the sex scenes first because if the girl backs out, of doing the sex scene, which girls are very notorious for saying, changing their mind and saying, no, I don't want to do that. He can fire them and hire, whoever was next in line and everything, and they don't have to shoot, you know, uh,
Makes sense.
yeah, I totally. Me, I've got this long ass beard. I want to shave it. I can't because I've got film scenes to film, like on the 19th that still need the beard. So I'm like, fuck. I want to
Yeah,
shave this damn thing
you're
off. It's
looking a little
getting
grizzly there, sir.
yeah, I was reading the pages to Knocked Up, the script, and they talked about that Dirty Man competition. You can't shave your face for like a year, and I was like, fuck, that's me right now. Like getting getting Charles
Just by
Manson like,
yourself.
you know,
Yeah, you got probably got a bird with a nest in there too that you don't even know
maybe.
about.
I don't know. I don't hear him, so that's a good sign.
It might be sleeping all the time, so
All the time. I don't know. Maybe he's awake when I'm asleep. I don't
there
know.
you go. He's nocturnal.
Anyway, it's not a
So
turtle. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where Bruce wants to do the stunt. He should do it first because you don't want him to die, you know, and stuff. And that's the crazy thing is you don't like those scenes are what make people want to go see the movie, but also those are probably the scariest for the studio. Like Paramount's probably going, you know, are you sure? Yeah, you want to do this, Tom? Like we can get somebody else,
well, and then the other actors. Simon Pegg wanting to be in the car, and then Rebecca Ferguson, wanting to do the underwater stuff, and she did some of her motorcycle driving. I don't know how much she did, but they do the stunt guys do comment that she's
Yeah.
that she's like they called her motorcycle woman. So it was so she even did some of that too. So the studio's probably like, oh God, no.
The
Just
fact,
she's got a helmet. Just put a stunt person in
yeah.
there.
And just stunt woman or stunt man, whoever. Um, what is it? Tom Cruise did not have a helmet.
No,
And
and that was on purpose.
and then you said like watch his knee and stuff, right?
That knee, he gets so far down, on the side as he's making that turn, that his knee hits the ground, and he quickly looks down and brings his knee back up because he can feel it, obviously, that the knee hit the ground. And he's like, oh, fuck. And then just brought it back up again, which means that is 100% real. That
Yeah.
is, I mean, if he was just on some bike on the back of a car, it wouldn't matter. But this is like, I am so sideways that my knees are hitting the ground.
Mm,
That's a real stunt. And it's all of this stuff in this
hmm.
is and I think that's why people just want to do wait until you see Fallout and you see the stuff that Henry Cavill does.
Henry
Yeah, the
Cavill's in
guy,
that?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
All right. Look, I'm in. Like I
Well, you
wasn't
you've
necessarily in
seen
before, but
Josh Whedon's Justice League. Remember the stuff with how they had to CGI out his mustache and it looked like shit.
I don't
It looked
remember that, but I
so
have it.
Josh
I just
Yeah, it just even on YouTube, just look at a picture of it, just Google it. When they did the reshoots, they and Henry Cavill was filming Fallout. He has a mustache
mhm.
and so, like a big thick mustache. And so, Warner Brothers is like, well, we need to do reshoots. Can he shave off the mustache? And Paramount's like, no. And they're like, well, we'll give you like $10 million or something to have him shave off the mustache. And they're like, no. And he's like, fuck. So they filmed all the reshoots with Superman has a mustache. And they CGI'd out the mustache. His from like his nose down to his lip is like that long. It looks awful. And I am so glad that it was done in that movie and that they didn't affect in Fallout because he is great in
Is he
Fallout.
the villain?
I'm not gonna say
Ah, well,
but he is big. Like he is like boxer big, and he is famous for cocking his fists. There's a fight scene in a bathroom, which is the best scene in the whole movie, and and he goes and you see him do this like he's cocking his fists.
mm,
He's never been able to do it as perfect, but that's what he's known as for doing in that movie is cocking his fists. And it's probably his best shot in that movie. And he is just, I mean, he's like bigger. He's like Schwarzenegger, like what Schwarzenegger used to be big. So it's he is really good in it. So yeah, you
um,
might like that one too, because it's also Christopher McQuarrie.
yeah. Uh, it's funny that like, because I looked, kind of cheated a little bit, but I looked at Fallout to see certain things, and I saw that Jeremy Renner is not back in Fallout, which
He was doing Avengers.
so you can do it. Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks.
They
Um,
wanted him back. Um, And then, of course, I think everything with Dead Reckoning was just, a few years down the road that they couldn't get back certain people. But yeah, he was doing Avengers at the time, one of the Avengers movies at the time.
okay.
So
So he never came back, which kind of sucks because I did really like him in this movie. Um, what I love is that Solomon Lane wants, you know, wants Hunt to kill the Prime Minister of England or whatever, and they get this like crazy idea to convince the CIA guy, Alec Baldwin, to like think that he's helping, stop Ethan, but really Ethan has used the mask of the I don't know what he was. He was something. He was a chief or something. So
What's the British one? MI6 or
yeah, but he was like the chief of MI6 or something.
yeah,
And
definitely Ferguson's boss.
yeah,
So
Ferguson's
yeah.
boss who deleted all the stuff, from her, of her. So Solomon Lane could not get it. But it didn't matter because they still needed the prime minister's stuff to like get in there, right? Like they needed his retinal scan, they needed his voice. I mean, they really went all out on that. And
Well, and they have to prove, that the syndicate exists.
right.
Because Alec Baldwin still doesn't believe his character doesn't believe that
But
it exists. He just thinks that Cruz is evil, basically. Just that he's just this horrible person that has killed a lot of people.
And they tranked them with like truth serum, I guess, because
Yeah.
they kept kind of saying it was just so funny because I think Alec Baldwin didn't realize it. So like he was looking down, the guy was saying things like, everything truthfully, and it was just funny. Like it has a little bit of humor in that scene. And then when the guy shows up, the he's like, you're not supposed to. We're not supposed to let anybody in. Like, who said that? You did, sir. Like, how did they not go, wait a minute, how did you get out? You know,
Backdoor, I guess, or something, maybe
they weren't that
thinking
conf they
that.
were very
But
confused, or whatever.
yeah, I mean, they're just guards. I mean, they're not, Einstein. So
Right.
it's just like they're probably just confused about the whole thing. And it's yeah, I mean, it's getting, and then in the making of, Macquarie talks about how they were going to kill Solomon Lane. And then but they wrote it a few different ways and it never worked. And they're like, no, I don't think we just shouldn't kill him because it's not working. Everything we're writing, just we'll trap him instead. And
I
so
think the trapping was better.
oh yeah, because the beginning then becomes the end. He trapped, Ethan with the gas, and now Ethan's trapped him, with the gas. And
Yep.
then, of course, that means he can always come back for a sequel. So,
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You
I have
never
no
know.
idea.
So,
I did not see that. I just saw that Jeremy Renner was gone, and I was kind of sad. Because I did
but I
like him.
do like Solomon Lane in the big glass box
Hmm.
as everybody's watching him and has a different look on their face, especially Benji is just like fuck you. He's just like
Yeah,
stare
so
like the death stare at him, and then Solomon Lane just keeps shooting into the glass that's not breaking.
of course it's not gonna
And
break.
one thing that I like is you always have to wonder who makes these things. Like you go into a James Bond movie, and of course they did this in Mission Impossible, where the room is fake and it all falls apart and you realize it's just like a set
Right.
and that it's all, and it's just to get information. Who builds all that? So in this, they do cut to Jeremy Renner and Luther, and they're, and he's like, man, this thing is not easy to build. And you realize he's building the glass container.
Hmm.
So it's nice. It's a quick little shot of just them knowing that everything is moving towards them and that they
Right.
got to get this thing ready instead of it just being built. We actually see somebody doing the building, which I think it's I think that's very Christopher McQuarrie, is to be detailed like that, because he says, and Cruz said the same thing, every single shot should mean something. It has to be something. You can't just, so you can't waste it. And so I think that was done on purpose.
Sweet. I really enjoyed it. I thought the whole movie was fantastic. From start to finish. And I was blown away. Like I said, I've said that a lot, but like I seriously
I'm
was.
glad.
Uh and I thought this was gonna be another one where I was gonna be like, man, I mean, I guess that this is how the series is gonna go. I'll just keep watching and I'll just keep thinking this is not for me. And I mean, to be fair, I don't think these are movies that I'm gonna constantly watch like you do. Like you really do love these. These are your things. They're still not mine. Um, and but I respect them a lot, and maybe occasionally I'll watch. I know because this is, it was the second or third time I'd seen the first Mission Impossible. So I mean, I'd probably watch that one more because I do love Brian De Palma, and I think it does feel like Hitchcock. The first few feel like, and even this one felt like Hitchcock a lot. Like it had the political slash um spy, thriller kind of stuff. I just still love the breaking into um, Langley or whatever, and the CIA headquarters in the first one. Like that was just brilliant, because
Oh, that's
you've never
iconic.
seen
Yeah.
that before in your life, like really. So it was great. And a lot of these movies, influenced the way action movies are, you know. A lot of them, people see these things, and this is, now all of a sudden everybody wants to make a spy thriller like Mission Impossible, you know. Um, but thankfully, Mission Impossible is its own, thing.
It is its own thing. It's still my favorite, with Fast and Furious being second, and then probably John Wick being my third. But with having watched them all, and then I move on to the next one and watch them all and stuff, you do tend to go, oh, well, okay, well, that Mission Impossible took this from that Fast and Furious, and this Fast and Furious took that from John Wick, and John Wick took that from Fast and the Furious. Oh, look, this Mission Impossible
Yes.
took it from this movie. And it's so they all kind of steal from each other, but do it slightly differently.
Yeah. And I also liked Christopher McQuarrie wasn't afraid to like have his camera like on like in places, like it was on the motorcycles or it was on in the car or whatever. I thought that was pretty
Well,
cool.
that's why that shot with them upside down and the guy parks the motorcycle and walks towards him. The camera's right on the ground looking through the broken window. That would be on, because it's over there, would be on the passenger side. And it's just looking through there. He could have cut to the guy pulling up on the motorcycle, cut to him cocking the gun, cut to, close up of Cruz's eyes. No, it's just one shot looking through the window,
Hmm.
just letting the camera roll until the guy, until Jeremy Renner looks down through the window going, hey, everything okay?
We good?
And then it cuts to like the other side and Cruz is there. That's what that's what I love about these filmmakers, is that they know that they could just leave the camera there and it's like, just walk away, just hit record. We're just gonna walk away and just action, and we'll just let it play out, and that's it. No close-ups, no nothing. It's just one shot looking through a window, and it's
Hmm.
beautiful. And like I said, they do the same type of thing in Dead Reckoning, different, but it's the same. And I'm like, oh, and when I finally got it on Blu-ray, I watched it over and over and over
Hmm.
again because I think the scene is hilarious. So,
Well,
and when we see
good.
that, I'll definitely point it out what it is.
Well, I like I said, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I like the syndicate thing, so I'm glad there was something with that. I'm thinking that I'll probably enjoy the next one. Yes, that's six, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but you usually talk about the box office score, for
Yes.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually got it right here. Excuse me. So Rogue Nation, its budget was 150 million. Its box office was 710.9 million. So it made some money,
Okay.
but in comparison to, so Rogue Nation did make worldwide, it did make less, not much, less than Ghost Protocol. At the time, Ghost Protocol was the highest grossing one.
Hmm.
But then Rogue Nation, because Ghost Protocol was, I'm not going to read the whole number, but I'll just say it's 694. This made 682
Okay.
until Fallout came out. which then I'll discuss that when we talk about
Yeah,
Fallout. But yeah, so it was still compared to the first three movies, even though Rogue Nation did make a little less than Ghost Protocol, it still made more than the first three movies. So I don't know
interesting.
why, and from what I understand, is they were questioning Rogue Nation because it didn't make more money than Ghost Protocol, which to me is fucking stupid. But
All right, so July 31st, 2015 was opening day, technically, for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which made $20 million and $20.3 million. It's opening day, which not bad, but it was number one in the box office at that day, right? Do you know what number two was?
no,
Vacation.
the original Vacation?
No,
No, wait, no, that'd be 80s. Wait. Oh, the remake of Vacation?
yeah.
Oh, no, wow. I didn't. Okay. I had no
Well,
idea.
that's interesting because 20 million for Mission Impossible and only 4 million for Vacation. So that's a pretty low, like that's a pretty big jump right there. Number three was Ant-Man with 3 million.
How long had the Ant-Man been out for?
2 weeks,
So it might have been number one when it first came out, and then it got bumped.
maybe.
So I would think that's Marvel. It would, I don't think it would make a million. I know it didn't, but I think that would do pretty good. Might be number one.
Number four was Minions, and
Okay.
that had only been out for 1 week. Number five, Pixels, the
Oh
Adam
God,
Sandler movie.
that movie is so bad. God, that is awful.
You know what that movie was? A train
Garbage.
wreck, which is number six,
Ah.
you know.
Oh, Trainwreck was okay. That was all right.
No, I'm saying that that movie was the Pixels was a train wreck, but number six was
Sorry.
also, but number six, the next one after
Is
Pixels was Trainwreck. So that which, I think it had
okay.
already been out for 5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Um, Number seven was Southpaw.
Okay.
Number eight, Paper Towns. That
Oh,
was like
that's
a
interesting.
drama movie.
Yeah, no, no, no. The chicken that's very hot. Yeah.
Um, she kind of annoys me in the interviews I've seen of her. She's very,
Oh, she's very annoying. She's incredibly pompous and she's just
yeah,
hot. That's about it.
yeah. I mean, I
I
hate to
can
say
look
it,
at
but
her
like
like
that turns me off when somebody is arrogant, like in the interviews, I'm like, you're lucky you're doing this stuff because, like everybody who's
they
able
are
to
the
be in the film industry is lucky, you know?
for some reason it's all these young women. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why they just can't be quiet.
Number nine is Inside Out, the
Okay.
cartoon, the
Yeah,
animated.
the
Number
Pixar one,
10
yeah.
was Jurassic World, but it was in 9 weeks at that time.
Yeah, because that thing that made 1 billion. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, 11 was Mr. Holmes. I don't know what that is, but is that like a Sherlock Holmes thing, or is that just like
I
a
don't
movie
know.
called Mr.
Mr.
Holmes?
Holmes.
I don't know. Number 12 was Terminator Genesis.
Okay.
And this is weird because this is getting to like Mr. Holmes or Jurassic World had only made like $1 million that day, right? Mr. Holmes only made 635,941.
Mr. Holmes.
And so like these things are still like there, but like, you know, um, so Mr. Holmes, Terminator Genesis,
Excuse me.
bless you.
Thank you.
Next movie is a weird one I've never heard of at all called Bajrangi Bajan.
Oh, no idea.
I don't know.
I'll let you know. Mr. Holmes actually sounds kind of cool. It's Bill Condon. Mr. Holmes follows a 93-year-old retired Sherlock Holmes in post-World War II England, and it's Gandalf.
Oh, Ian
What's
McKellen.
his name? Yeah, or
Cool.
at least it looks like him. It doesn't give a name, but it looks like him in the picture here. So yeah, this actually sounds Yeah, Ian McKellen. Yeah. This sounds kind of cool. Okay,
Yeah,
Mr. Holmes. There we go.
and Linney. So
Ooh, like her.
yeah, cool. You never even heard of it, so
No, but I like the idea.
yeah, that's awesome. Uh, Number 14 was Magic Mike XXL.
I do not own any of those.
That mean you do.
Don't accuse me that I do. I do not own any of them on 4K steel book.
Which ones do you own? All of them?
I do not own any of them.
But if you were to own any of them, which ones would you own?
I I have no I just know that they're like a stripper type of thing for women. That's all I
You never
know.
watched it though?
No, I've never seen them though.
So when I was making The Locked Room, which is a short film that I did, I was with my friend Heather, and we were in the living room of my friend Crystal's house, and we were just like, "Do you want to watch something?" And like, Crystal had Magic Mike, and I was just like, it's a chick flick, whatever. So I watched it. I don't know if I watched the whole thing or not because it was late at night. I might have just watched some of it, but you know, you watch it with a girl, that's okay.
I think
Number
it'd be a good double feature with what's the what Pitch Perfect. So they showed
I
Magic
do own
Mike
all
and
three
Pitch
of
Perfect.
those. I do own all three of
Oh
those.
my God, sir, please continue.
Okay. Next is number 15 is Ted 2.
Okay.
Number 16, Spy. That's the
Oh God.
Melissa McCarthy's Sandra. Is it Sandra Bullock? No.
Yeah, abortion.
No, because that was the Heat. They didn't work together again, did they?
Oh, I don't know. I just know that she's in it
Yeah,
and the
so
big
Melissa
scandal was about her.
McCarthy was the just the main
See,
star of that
get
one.
it? She plays a fat spy. Get it? She's fat and a spy. I can't stand
Which I'm surprised they didn't call it's Heavy Set Spy or something, but they didn't.
her. Heavy Set Spy would be a great title.
Uh, um, Number 17 is The Gallows.
Okay. I own Gallows and
Number
Wonderland.
18 is The Vatican Tape, so two horror films back to
Oh,
back.
love Vatican tapes. That last 5 seconds is great. And I'm not
Interestingly
joking.
enough, number 19 is Max, the dog movie, I think,
Oh,
if I'm
that was
correct. It
about
was
Hitler.
like, yeah, I think Sheldon Lettich had something to do with that or something. It's like did he direct it? Um, it's like a adventure movie. Um, but it was pretty cool. And then Mad Max was 20, Mad Max Fury Road. So I'm just gonna do 20. There's like 30 something. So
Oh
I'm
no,
like,
20 is fine.
no, that's a little much. No, 42. Ha, that's too
20 is
much.
fine.
20 is fine. But anyway, that just goes to show you what they were sort of up against, and they just destroyed the box office at that particular time, which I'm not surprised because I mean that was the box office movie. That's the movie that people are gonna run. It's not like releasing Mission Impossible against a Christopher Nolan movie, you know, which
No,
he's
because
had
I'd
to
much
deal
rather
with. We've
watch
talked
the
about
other
that.
Chris's movie. I'd much rather watch Christopher McQuarrie over Christopher Nolan these days.
Right. Um, I don't know. I used to love Christopher Nolan.
I liked him all the
Memento
way
was
up to Oppenheimer.
fantastic. What?
I liked him all the way up to Oppenheimer.
I didn't
Well,
see Oppenheimer.
I just watched Oppenheimer like last night, I think, maybe 2 days ago. It is great. It is a great movie, which is why it's killing me that he's doing the Odyssey in the way that he's doing it. Does not make any sense. Florence Pugh gets naked twice in
Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good reason to watch it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think I was
I like
wearing
her,
it
but
out.
like people are like saying that her and the from Thunderbolts, the guy that was sort of made and then he became the villain.
Oh
Forgot
yeah.
the character's name or whatever. But those two characters are supposed to be more connected in the next one. So I think in the like the Avengers movies, I think they're gonna have like a little love thing together. And
Oh, it's been put out there. The transcript of the script is out there, and it's been considered real. Like Critical Drinker has read it, and Erotic has read it. They've all taken like complete episodes to just have a group of people, and he just reads the whole thing, and they comment on it, and it sounds awful. and they've said this is real, that it's not, this is not a fake script. So it
Well,
got
they've got
leaked.
some time to do some reshoots to make it different, but they're not going to, most likely.
I'm still disappointed in Kane. I'm really bummed about that, especially from that video that I sent you. If that script was real, God, I thought that would have been such a great film. And being a fan of Kane, and it's
Oh, like King's Dynasty, like thing.
yeah, I think that would have
Yeah.
been great. And it's
That's
especially with going back and rewatching the Loki stuff with Kane and Quantum Mania, but the Kane stuff is good. It's like, man, this would have been a great movie, going into Secret
He was
Wars. And
okay in Quantum Mania, but I felt like he was just like it was just random in a way.
well, because
Like,
there's like thousands of variants of
right,
him.
there's no, and they show that at the end. You see all the different variants of Kang, and they're all different shapes, sizes, looks, and everything like that. The Council of Kangs or whatever. And
Yeah.
I thought that was, I mean, it was cool, but it's just like, eh, you know.
Well, from what I saw on it is Marvel was maybe even considering dumping that whole thing anyways because Quantum Mania did so bad
As much as I
that
love Paul Rudd, Ant-Man is the wrong person to be like going up against Kang.
that's what these videos that I've watched that have talked about it have said is why would you take like the weakest, as much as we like Paul Rudd, why would you take the weakest Marvel character to have him kill Kang, which he doesn't. He just kind of pushes him through a thing like a portal, like a multiverse.
Kind of like they did
So
with freaking uh in Fantastic Four. They did that with the big
oh
guy,
yeah.
Galactus. They just push him through a portal. It's like, can we can we do something like and then somebody pointed out the other day that or not the other day when they went to the theater and watched I think it was Thunderbolts or whatever, but they were like, "Oh God, another movie where all of a sudden everybody is cured by talking to each other." Like talking therapy is the way that we're gonna solve the world now, like is BS. And that's kind of what happens in that, and that's kind of what happens in freaking Captain America Brave New World, where Captain America can't fight the Red Hulk, you know, because he's too small, and yet he's like just come down, or whatever, and all of a sudden,
Your daughter, your
and
daughter.
then he's like, oh, let me, right? I'm like, this is bullshit. So that's like what they did and all their things. They talk it out, and I think that's what Disney is trying to say about like the world. If we all just talk it out, everything's gonna be fine. That's not the real world. We need people like they used to be like, oh, I'm gonna kill this character, right? Now it's like, let me push him through a portal.
Well, it's cheaper to film somebody, talking than it is to film action scenes. I would still love to see the original version of Captain America Brave New World. I mean, I really wonder what that was like. I mean,
Yeah.
what we're seeing was not what was shot. So it's and there's also something like there's a bunch of footage from Fantastic Four mentioned, like gone with like John Malkovich, where he plays one of the villains. He's gone.
hmm
There's all this stuff that's just missing from these movies. That seems like Supergirl. I read a review and the review goes, it seems like there's like 30 minutes of movie missing. No, there's 25 minutes of movie missing. They've already said it. A week before the film came out, they cut 25 minutes out from the movie. So the film doesn't make really any sense anymore. It's just action and dialogue. That's really it. There's nothing else. There's no character development or, you know, all of a sudden she's wearing street clothes. And then the next thing you know, her little companion has the Supergirl suit. Like
Yeah.
here,
Well, thank God the Mission Impossible movies aren't anything like that.
to circle
Mm.
back to
Yeah. You gotta stay on target.
stay on target.
I knew you were gonna say that. That's why I said it. Um, so yeah, I love what we've been seeing with this, and this was the big blockbuster at that time. Um, has any of the Mission Impossibles broke a billion?
No.
I don't know why. Like they have a following.
I still have it up right here. First one was like, I'm just going to do the first three numbers, like 457, then 446, 398. No, none of these. 694, 682. So no, I don't want to go further than that.
Yeah,
But
you don't
no,
want to tell me that because that's part of the charm of the show is
yeah, yeah.
we hear how well it does or how badly some things do. So, but that's sort of what the mainstream is about. So as I was thinking, um, what I was thinking was that I think this might be the last season of the mainstream. I think I told you that before. But I don't think I announced that here. It's just I've got way too much stuff going on in life and everything. As much as I love diving into these movies, and whatnot, I just, like right now I don't have time. So if maybe another time later I start feeling like, why not going back to it, I may decide to bring it back, but this will be up to number 8, which is Dead Reckoning Part 2. I think that'll be the last, episode of the mainstream for now. Like I said, I might bring it back another time. I thought about that before, like I've said before, I'm done with stuff, and then I've said, oh no, never mind, change my mind. And so that could happen. And I love having you as the co-host of these because you are a more mainstream lover, of this stuff. And this series is your favorite series. So I think
Yes.
this is your favorite series of all time, right? Maybe?
Action, well, yeah, action wise at least. Yeah. I have my different, the horror franchises and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we've talked about many of those on Mainstream Mondays. So, which we'll be back to that in the fall, which I'm excited about. But that may be taking a break too after a while because we're gonna do 2 seasons in 1 year, and that's way too much. You know, right? But and that's gonna be a catch-up season, which will be great. So I'm really excited. We got so much stuff going on. And I want to thank you, John. I'm glad I didn't say, all right, yeah, let's not do any more episodes, and everything. I think this was one I got into. I'm if we'll see how part 6 does for me. If this was any indication of what 6 is going to be like, I'm on board, you know. But sounds like Dead Reckoning has some issues and stuff. So,
Yeah, I did a whole video on why I thought it failed.
well, it was post-COVID, right?
It took them 7 years to make both movies. A lot of that had to do with COVID and being shut down a couple times.
Yeah.
And when Top Gun Maverick came out and Cruise did that thank you at the beginning, saying thank you for coming to see this movie. He's on the biplane that's in the Final Reckoning.
All
So
right.
they were already shooting that when Top Gun Maverick came out because they shot, then they did Maverick, and then they went back to shoot again. So it took a
He's
long
been
time for those two movies to come out, and I think AI is the main thing in those movies, and I just don't think people cared. It's just people were tired of
I
AI. We're still tired of it now.
I'm I'm worried. Well, not worried, but I'm kind of sad that because I remember that he was going to do a movie where he was going to go into space
Yeah.
and stuff. And I think that's got canceled, or something like recently that got I could be wrong. I mean, it could still be in development, but they're not pushing for it right now, like, and everything. And I'm like, why not? That sounds epic. Like Tom Cruise, first actor ever to be in space shooting a movie, you know?
Well,
Like,
Cameron he wanted to shoot a movie in space. So you get James Cameron to direct it and Tom Cruise to be in it, and then I have a heart attack. It's, oh my God.
and Christopher McQuarrie could write it, and then
Yeah.
we got the like, yeah, that would just give you like
I
extra orgasms for that,
oh my God, I'd orgasm out.
Yeah. But
My
and
nipples would be so hard they would explode.
Rebecca Ferguson could be in it, 'cause she's hot.
She could come back as like a clone
Yeah.
because it takes place in space.
Well, it's not Mission Impossible in space, though. Mission Impossible in space and
In
actually
space.
in space. That would be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. Ethan has to go to a space station.
Yeah, why
He could
not?
fight Dr. Evil.
One
So, Mr. Hunt.
$1 billion. $1 billion isn't a lot now.
Oh, come on,
One
people, throw me a bone.
gazillion dollars. All right. Yeah, I love that. All right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I can't wait to do the next one. So we'll be back next month with a brand new episode. So hope you guys enjoy it. Till then, everybody. Bye.
Bye.